Hello, my loves. This is Annette of AnnetteLeonard.com, back with Chronic Wellness. Thanks for joining me. I am here today to talk about living in your limits. And whew, what a challenge this one is. And I am going to guess that I'm not alone. So weekend before last, I had the opportunity to go out in our little motorhome for the weekend. And what a joy to be out in nature. And I'm so grateful to my wife for her ability and willingness to make those kinds of things happen. I mean, I take care of a few things, and I'm good about sorting out our meals and making sure about some of the details. But in the grand scheme, in terms of driving us there, getting things plugged in, doing all the heavy lifting, I couldn't do it if she didn't make that possible. And while we were there, I had done some research on a little hike that was nearby. And, you know, you hear the word hike and you're like, that's not for you, Annette. And in general, yes, yeah, that is 100% true. But I have been doing a little bit of walking here and there, and I've been able to extend what I am capable of at sea level without any steep incline. And it was a mile-long walk, and I know that I can do that without any elevation gain. And it was a loop, and so aces, you know, I was going to end up right where I started. And so there I went on my 1 mile walk, and I thought, joy, I'm going to get to, you know, see nature. I'm going to get to take this really slow walk. This is perfect. And off I went. And somewhere along the way, I don't know if it was halfway or 2/3 of the way through, and I was doing this walk with friends who know my limitations and were willing to, you know, go at a snail's pace with me. But along the route, the terrain turned into sand. And at that point, I should have said, I need to turn back, because I didn't know if it was going to be sand for 5 feet or the rest of the way. And it turns out that it was sand for the rest of the way. And that was way too much. I mean, I can barely walk in dry sand for 100 feet, much less 1/3 of a mile or more. And that is what happened. And I was in excruciating pain that night, pain in my legs and hips that woke me. And the next night kept me from sleeping, and then kept me in bed for the next 4 days, and had me in so much pain. I mean, the pain in my hips and my legs was at like an 8. It wasn't like an 8. It was an 8. And we ended up calling my doctor and needing to get me an injection of pain meds to even just get me a little bit of sleep and relief. And I was so angry at myself for not realizing I needed to stop, not realizing I just should have turned back, not realizing, you know, just all the things that I think, you know, man, all these years in, Leonard, you should know how to handle this differently. And I didn't. That is how I handled it. And that is how I paid for it. And it's this conundrum, right? Of, I want to wring the life out of the life that I have. I want to be living each day to its fullest. I want to be maximizing all that I can do. Like, if this is the limit, I want to live up to it each day. And of course, the risk in that is that I don't know where that limit is. Some days it's here, some days it's here, some days it's here. And figuring that out without just blowing through it and injuring myself and paying for it. And, I'm wearing oxygen more regularly right now. And I don't know that it's because of that. And yet it's certainly not helped by that. And it's so difficult when that happens to not be so discouraged that I then just shrink and start living, if this is the limit, start living down here every day. And that's not what I mean to do. I still mean to be trying to live to my maximum. And man, it's tough. And it's tough to not be discouraged and then try to keep myself as big as I can be and not just start living small. So that's what I thought I'd talk to you about today, because I'm betting that you struggle with this too. And I wonder how you figure out your limits and how you try to live within them each day and what happens when you don't. And I'd love to hear from you, as ever. So tell me how you figure out your limits and how you're doing at living within them, and how you're doing with living as big as you can and not just allowing yourself to shrink when you realize you're close to those limits. I love you. I think about you all the time. And I'm grateful that you're sharing a little of your precious time and energy with me. All right, until we're together again, which I hope will be next week, I hope that you are living right up to the limit and not paying, just pressing right up against it every day. Be well.